I'm Greg Swain.
And I'm Toby Salk.
Welcome to
To
G&T
G&T
Time.
Time.
That was supposed to be said at the same time, but what are you going to do? Okay, so this is our first ever G&T Time, and we're just so happy that you all were able to be here with us for what we hope are going to be some fun interludes. Now, there may be some people here who don't know what G&T stands for, so if you tuned in thinking you were going to get a mixology lesson on the way to make the best gin and tonic, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not what this G&T Time is all about, but we hope you'll stay anyway. But by the way, I have something that looks like a G&T here, but it's really water with a little twist of lemon, so it looks like I'm drinking a gin and tonic. But so our G&T Time stands for Gregg and Toby, and if you have a copy of the book, oh, good, somebody else has a book. Good, good, good. So if you have a copy of the book.
Oh yeah, show your copy, everybody. This
okay,
is
I'll show you a copy.
I love it. All
anyway,
right,
so
we're looking good.
Have copies of the book. You all know what G&T stands for, which is it's our little opportunity where Toby and I got to share some ideas about strategy and just little anecdotes.
What we wanted to do is, in our book and who we are, we really wanted to have community. And I think a lot of us who play Mahjong, we play to have community, and we're together and we want to be together. So we thought, well, let's do this and we can answer questions and tell stories and see what's going on in your world and just be together again. And just a teeny bit of housekeeping. I just wanted to say that we are recording this. Who knows if it's ever going to go anywhere. It might just be us looking at it and saying, what can we do next time? And we really appreciate all of you coming on our virgin run, because this is our awkward one where we're just figuring things out and what you might like. And we'd love to hear your feedback of what you'd like. At the end, you can write to each of us and just, say, hey, what can we do to make this sort of a gathering once a month or so? So, let's see, what we're going to do is we're going to keep everyone on mute for a little bit. And not everybody knows Greg and myself, so we thought we would tell you a little bit about ourselves. And then what we're going to do is open it up, and you can write in chat your questions, or that you want to tell a story, or you might want to tell something that happened recently on Zoom or in your home, something like that, and we'll unmute you. All right? So here we go. So Greg, you want to tell everyone a bit about you?
Well, I was actually going to just say that we are already a community on Facebook, and certainly on Mahjong That's It. And I think we all know each other because of Mahjong That's It and some other little Facebook groups. But we kind of saw this as being kind of a live Mahjong That's It opportunity for people. And it's just another way to get everybody connected. Now, I bet a lot of you watched the Emmys last night. Did you? They were really great, the Emmys. And I love the intimacy of it all. And I thought Jimmy Kimmel did a great job. And I was really excited that Schitt's Creek won a lot of awards. But I'm now going to quote Jimmy Kimmel from his opening monologue. What's happening tonight is not important. It's not going to stop fires, but it's fun. And right now we need fun. My God, do we need fun? We've been quarantined and locked down like prisoners in a dark and lonely tunnel, unable to connect in person. And what did we find? Well, Jimmy said everybody found TV, but many of us tuned into online games and Zooms and other opportunities offered to us by the online community. And I know that we're all so very grateful to all of that. And there's, of course, Real Mahjong, Mahjong.net, Mahjong Time, and the league's own version of the game where we can play and connect with friends via chat and conference calls and Zooms. And then, of course, we've got Michelle Frizzell's videos, and Modern Mahjong has their fun interviews. So we just basically thought that this would be another fun way to use the internet. So, Toby, why don't you just tell people how you started off in the game? When did you become a Mahjong person or become familiar with Mahjong?
Well, some of you know this and some of you don't, and you could ask me more questions about this, but I am really fortunate. My mom played, my grandmother played, my Aunt Rose played, my Aunt Alice played. So I grew up in New York City, and it was very common to play. And I always say that I heard the tiles clicking and clacking in the womb. And I feel in some ways I had no choice, but as a young person, I didn't want to be like my family. And so I actually didn't learn until I was in my 20s. And so, but really, had I not grown up with my family playing, I don't know that it would have been on my radar. It just wasn't very popular when I started playing, and that was in the 70s. It just sort of was not particularly in fashion at that point. And I remember when I told my mother that I was learning Mahjong, she looked at me and she said, "You're too young for that." I remember cracking up because, you know, I was like 24 or something like that. And she just thought, you know, oh, you need to wait till you're 50 or something, you know. But it was great. And I never thought it would morph into what it has become in my life, which is pretty remarkable, I think, to see all of you and know that this is what it's morphed into. Actually, can I tell a funny story? Here we go. This is great. So I buy sets on eBay, you know, every here and there I buy sets. And there was someone who is actually here, Allison Heaphy. She's somewhere in here. And Allison has a horse. And I saw this set and I said, this is her set. This is the set I think she should have. So I immediately contacted her and I said, this is your set. And she goes, okay, you know, if you say so. So I wind up buying the set and having it shipped to her house. I never even saw it in person. And, you know, that was it. I didn't notice who it was from or anything like that. So about 2 weeks later, I get an email from this guy and he says, hi, my name is Paul. And I know you bought this set and I have another that I thought you might like. And he said, and by the way, are you Toby Salk? Because I go by Toby Alice online. He goes, are you Toby Salk of Mahjong Royalty? Well, I thought I was going to fall off my chair. I mean, I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just a schlub. Like, you know, it's just me, whatever, you know. So I write him back and I said, yeah, I guess that's me. And he wrote me from Ireland. From Ireland. This message came from Ireland. I could not believe it. I was so floored. I was like falling apart at the seams that this guy from Ireland had heard of me. It was like one of the pinnacles of my Mahjong life. I just had to tell you.
So I don't have a long history like that Toby has, but I grew up in New York City and my grandmother would play Mahjong and she belonged to a beach club and they had little cabanas and with seating areas in front of the cabana. And so she and her friends would play Mahjong and you would just see all these ladies playing Mahjong as they got toward the beach. I don't think any of them ever went on the beach. I think they just all sat there in their bathing suits playing Mahjong at the tables. But anyway, so I saw it being played, but my grandmother never played it with us because there was just my sister and me, and she didn't know that you can play with 3 people. So I never got to play it, but I always was so curious about the game because everybody playing it seemed to be having so much fun. And they would talk about, you know, dragons, and then sometimes it sounded like they were swearing. And then at the end of the game, everybody would just burst out into hysterical laughter. And I thought, I want to play that game. But it really wasn't until 2010 that I learned how to play. I spent a lot of time asking people, do you know how to play Mahjong? Where can I learn to play? And then everybody who knew how to play would say, well, you have to tell us what kind of Mahjong you want to play. And I didn't know anything about it. So finally in 2010, I learned how to play. And I love the fact that I didn't have to remember anything that was discarded because everything was right up, face up on the table. And I really liked the idea that I didn't have a partner who I might disappoint if I didn't pick up on the signals. And then it is just such fun and such a wonderful escape from everything. And so that's really why I just adore the game. Obviously, I've made up for lost time. It's only been 10 years. So now, Toby, you've been teaching for a long time.
I have, and again, my mom comes into this. So, I had been working at the Sharper Image, and I'd been there for about 30 years on and off, and they kind of folded, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with myself. And I tried all these hats on that I had done before. I was a ceramicist and a calligrapher and a baker, and there was nothing I still wanted to do. I was that those ships sailed, and I was having dinner one night at a friend's house, and this woman said to me, "Hey, how's the job hunt going?" And I just kind of slumped, and she said, "You should be teaching mahjong." And I thought, "Oh, you are a lunatic." And before I could get that out of my mouth, she said, "I own a bakery, and you can teach there at night for your first class." So I did that, and I loved it, and it kept on going. So I said to my mother, I said, "Mom, I think I'm going to try teaching mahjong." And she goes, "No one's going to pay you to do that." That's only my mother could say. And so here I am. It's been about maybe 12 years. And the wonderful part is I teach at Rancho La Puerta in Mexico, where some of you, I can see Lee, other people have been. And I teach at ladies' clubs in San Francisco. And I teach in private homes. I've been privy to going into some amazing houses and all over the place, and talking and lecturing. And it just, it's just been really wonderful to teach people. And I think the best part for me is I'll be with a group, and underlying, I can feel the nervousness. I'm going to be the only one who can't learn. It's only me. Everybody else will learn but me. I'm the only one. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough, whatever. I don't play games. And then I see the lights go on, and I find out a year later, they're all still playing together, and one of them won a tournament, or one of them beat the pants off of the best one in the class and never thought she'd be better than them, and all kinds of things. And it's just really exciting to see somebody who's really scared to saying mahjong and winning. And the thrill of it is just, it's my thrill when one of my students really gets it and clicks.
Yeah.
Gregg, how do you feel about teaching?
Well, I love teaching, but what I really love is that you put random people together around a table. And by the time they finish learning how to play the game, they actually are a little community. They're a group of friends. And I think a lot of us who play the game know how really important the friendship is around the table. And there's just something very unique about the game of mahjong that helps people to build friendships. And of course, it's really wonderful that we have to use our noggins in order to figure out things, and we get to forget about all the things that we're busy worrying about. So there are a lot of reasons for coming to the mahjong table, but I really think that it's the friendships that are formed during the lessons and everything that really have made the most difference to people. And I think that's why I really like teaching the game.
There's a woman who, oh, sorry. There's a woman who's here today, Linda, who is part of a group that took classes from me almost, I think it was 11 years ago. And they still play together every Wednesday. And sometimes it's 2 or 3 tables. And they didn't all know each other at the beginning, but I think one of the most rewarding things for me, to you, what you just said, Gregg, is that I hear all the time, we were 8 people in your class, and we took the class on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and we still meet every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, and it's been 3 years or whatever it is. It's all about that community.
Right. Well, when we wrote the book, we really were thinking that the book was going to be an addition to people teaching in real life. It never was supposed to supplant the idea of people teaching in real life. And then all of a sudden we realize, oh my goodness, this book is coming out in a pandemic. Oh, this is terrible. And then we realize, well, actually, it's really a very good time for this book to be coming out, because people who don't know how to play and wanted to learn how to play now can learn how to play by reading the book. And then we've got that little tile set in the back of the book, and we've got the website with a PDF. If you don't want to cut out the book, you can cut out tiles that you print out from the PDF. So it's actually a perfect time to be teaching the book for, teaching the game with this book. So, I mean, who knew, right? So the timing was perfect. In a pandemic, the timing was perfect.
It's really true, because a lot of people, like Christine Whitman is here, who makes Mahjong racks. She's waving. Wave again. There you go. And she and her husband play like almost every night after dinner. And, I live by myself. I mean, I would just like fall apart to have somebody that I could just play with on the spur of the moment, that's in my house, my little bubble with me. So, Siamese Mahjong, when you can play with two people, which Gladys Grad wrote a whole chapter in our book about how to play Siamese. So if you don't know, it's in our book. And it's really great because you can just play with one other person.
Right.
Greg?
Yeah, I think it's that. I love Siamese, and it really does make you use the old noggin. So, but now I'm wondering, so I think all of you know, but we do have the website, American Mahjong for Everyone, and it actually doesn't matter how you spell Mahjong, you can get to our website. And so there's a lot more information there. But I wonder if maybe we should open it up for some questions and comments from people. And I think there's some chats. Toby, I'm going to leave you in charge of the chat things, because maybe you're good at that.
Okay, so here's what I want to say to everybody. If there's something that you want to tell a story, or if you want to have a comment, or even a question that's really specific, put it into chat now, and I'm going to look at them, and you raise your hand and we'll unmute you, or you can unmute yourself, and we'll take it away from there.
Right. Well, I see that Claudia asked if we're playing online or in person. I wish I could be playing in person. I played with Woody a couple of times, but the online games have really saved me. And when I play online, I am on a telephone with people. I know some people do the Zoom, and I think it's really helped save us all during these difficult times, just connecting with people via anything we can connect with people.
I always swore that I would never play online. I want to be with people. I want to see your face. I'm playing online. It's like, some people I know are playing every day. Like, I think Sandy, who's here, plays all the time. I play once a week for 2 hours, and that's it. I don't know what it is, but Barney, you play a lot, don't you?
I don't see.
Do you want to talk about playing online a bit?
Yeah, unmute yourself, Barney, if you can.
Here.
Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
You can.
Oh.
Can you unmute yourself?
I want to do the Toby.
Did that work?
Yeah. Yep.
That worked.
Shift Command A on the Mac's keyboard worked. Well, as some of you know, I love the game, and I literally play every single day. So I'm not embarrassed to admit it, but I'm on almost every night at 7 o'clock if I'm not doing something else on Mahjong Time. And I too, like you, really never thought I would do it. I love being with people, and I just thought this is not going to work for me. But when it's that or not playing, it was an easy decision. So, and I have a strong opinion about that particular site. It's very realistic, so I like it and I enjoy it. And I recognize some of the people here who play online with me, and it's a different type of community, but it's its own community. So I'm enjoying it very much.
And can you spell it for everyone, Barney?
Mahjong Time, I think they drop, it's MAHJONGTIME.
Okay, great.
None of the letters are doubled. None of the letters are doubled. And it costs money to join. I think like $45 for the basic fee and $75 if you want the full-blown fee for a year, as much as you want to play.
Yeah.
That's
It's
great.
really good.
Yeah.
The thing about Mahjong Time is I don't think that you can play against robots when you're really playing. So when it's, let's say, 5 o'clock in the morning and I happen to be awake, which is basically what happens, I can just go on to Real Mahjong or mahjong.net and I can play against robots. So that always makes me happy to be able, I can play Mahjong whenever I want, but sometimes it's just against robots.
Yep.
Great. You know, I want to introduce an etiquette question. All right. So this is from someone here who I'm not going to name. And one of the things that they talked about, and you know, etiquette in Mahjong is a big topic. I think a lot of times we'll play with beginners and we talk about slowing down, or we'll talk about, you know, you are a beginner and you wish that people would slow down, or maybe you're with a group and they're just, you know, you're not compatible. So this is the question someone is posing now. So you have a foursome and one of the people in the foursome wants to introduce a new substitute. But the substitute, unlike the foursome, is highly competitive and just wants to play fast, 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 and no talking, and really changes the rhythm and the tone of the game that you've been playing all along. So what do you do? How do you not hurt somebody's feelings, right? So, you know, I think this happens a lot where there's somebody in your group who might be slower or faster or more competitive. And it's a delicate topic. Greg, do you have thoughts on this?
Well, it is a delicate topic because you really don't want to be upsetting anybody else, but you just have to tread carefully because people's feelings can get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if it's just a temporary situation, maybe you can all deal with it, but, you know, you don't want to have it be ongoing and have this person really dragging you down because it does start to make other people upset.
Yeah. I think something you can sometimes do, if it's possible, is to speak with the person one-on-one, especially the person who invited them in, and just say, you know, we're sort of a looser group and we don't really play, you know, that kind of cutthroat slamming or whatever. And, you know, we're hoping that maybe you'll kind of pull back the reins a little bit to be part of our group. Something like that.
Right, right. I didn't realize that you were talking about cutthroat people. Yeah, the cutthroat
Oh, this
people
was
really
like, yeah, ooh,
okay.
yeah, diving
Oh.
in. Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Barney, did
That's
you have a thought on that? Oh, wait, you have to unmute yourself, Barney. Not yet.
Okay,
there you are.
Did that work?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That time I just had to hit the unmute button. That was better.
Great.
Yeah. You know, one thing I would say is maybe to prevent the possibility of that uneasy moment there is to get as much information as possible beforehand.
Mhm.
We've had situations where groups where we needed someone and we were very clear up front in terms of what kind of group and what kind of game it was going to be, and let them decide if that was the right thing for them. I'm sure that this is not a perfect solution to everything, but if you really knew in advance, you know, this is a highly competitive, you know, strict Mahjong League rules. We do very little chit chat. We basically are there to play and get 4 to 5 games done every hour and things like that. Versus it's a friendly, it's a social, very relaxed sort of environment. I think maybe some of that conversation up front could prevent some of it from happening.
Right.
I think that's great. One of the things that people are saying here is they're naming some of the sites that they use. So I'm just going to read a couple of them. One is Real Mahjong, and that's the one I use, and I really like it. I have no issues at all with it. One, I've never heard of this, called School Games. Does anybody here?
That's part of Mahjong Time. When you're learning to play Mahjong Time, they have little robots, so you're just really learning how the site works. It's not it's not really new games. If you go on it enough times, you'll see that it's actually the exact same games as, you know, you were playing the last time. So it's really just familiarizing you with how to play on Mahjong Time.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And let's see.
Mahjong.net is very good, and that's also a website where if you pay a little bit extra, they can give you guidance as to what kind of hands you're going to be good at. So that's very good, and I always say that if you're a beginner, that's a really good way to learn, because they'll expose you to some patterns that you might not think about all the time. And there's something else that I'm so excited about. It's an app, and it's called American Mahjong Practice 2020, and it's only for the iPhone. Sorry, everybody who doesn't have an iPhone, but you don't even need Wi-Fi. You can just play it. And I just discovered 2 days ago, it used to be that the bots could never win on that app. Now, if you go to settings, you say the robots can beat me. So it's really like a legitimate game. And it's so helpful because you can have guidance as to what hands you're good at, but you don't need to take advantage of that. But it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That's great. One of the questions I have here is, if you're a beginner, should you only play with beginners?
No.
And my answer is absolutely not. I think I play with beginners all the time, and I just slow it down and I give myself a handicap. When I play with beginners, I only play concealed and no joker hands. It doesn't mean I'll win on that, but that's how I begin. And that's the handicap I give myself. And I've always played to who I'm with. You know, if there's a beginner, I'm hoping that people who are more advanced and playing with a beginner might even play an open hand, you know, where you can see everybody's tiles at the beginning and help them out a bit. Any thoughts from anyone? Barney, again?
Yes. Do I have to unmute again?
No, I think you're here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what I think? The hardest thing is to find a group, knowing you're the beginner, who will welcome you in. I mean, I think sometimes a more advanced group is going to struggle a little bit with allowing somebody who's very new. You were sharing a funny story before. Can I share a funny story too? It's the first time when I first learned how to play, I started to play at Panera Bread in New Jersey. They would, through one of those meetup groups, the group met at Panera Bread, and the woman who ran this session literally called me after I signed up. She called me and said, "You can come, but you have to promise me one thing." And I said, "Okay, what's that?" "You can't tell anybody in the group how long you've been playing, because they'll eat you alive." So I was like, okay. And come to pass that it was a very competitive group, and one woman literally said out loud, you know, "Well, thank God you're a senior, you know, a seasoned player, because we hate it when new people show up. It just slows down the game." So I think I agree with you. I think we all get better when we play with better groups.
Yes.
The question is finding the group who will welcome in a beginner or somebody maybe not so advanced. You got to sort of wing it a little bit.
I have a little thought on that. Once a month, pre-COVID, everything we're saying about in person, I host a Mahjong brunch, and I would say so many people here have been to it. I mean, Linda and Christine and Lee, and I'm just looking around, and Allison, and, you know, all these people, Lisa, have been to it. And what I do is I put the beginners at one table and the intermediates at another, and the sharks at another, and the fast sharks at another. And then everybody's really happy because they're playing with people of their own level. But it's not usual that you can find that wherever you are. But what's really great is I'll walk over and I'll sit with the beginners, you know, for the day. And then at a certain point I go, "Okay, you have to leave. You're up to intermediate now." Or I'll walk over to intermediate. Somebody won 5 times. I go, "Oh, you're into the sharks," you know,
Right.
that kind of thing. And I just move people. But it's really great because people aren't, you know, that factor that you're addressing, Barney, of not being compatible with the group is gone. It's absolutely gone. So if you can do something where you're a beginner and you might even say online, I'm looking for other beginners to play with, and then you can help each other, you know, and talk maybe on the phone and say, oh, here's what you could have done, and that kind of a thing.
Right. So I think that when you play online, if you're playing against robots, that's just perfect because you don't have to worry about how long it's taking you to make decisions, you know, what you're going to discard and everything. The robots, except on mahjong.net, they have a little bit of attitude and there's a little bell ringing, I think, if you're taking too long, which is maybe why I don't go on mahjong.net all that often. But on real mahjong, you can take as long as you want, which I think is really wonderful. I'm just going to tell a funny story about I play with beginners a lot, and sometimes the beginners are on either side of me. Maybe there's somebody better across, but I've always said that I'm going to be helpful to the beginners. So I sit there and then I go like this, and I'm looking at everybody's hands and trying to help them and guide them while I'm trying to play my own hand. And I just am always so worried that I'm going to be at a tournament or something, and I'm going to be going like this. I'm going to be thrown right out because they'll think I'm cheating, not realizing that that's basically what I do when I'm helping everybody play.
It's great.
Dara's been very helpful with the American Mahjong practice here, and I guess that they now are available for Google phones too, so that's really helpful. And I think it might be as expensive as $2.99 now, and I have to tell you it's the best $2.99 that you'll ever spend because it's unlimited hours of pleasure perfecting your Mahjong game. So I highly recommend it, especially since you don't need Wi-Fi. I ride around New York on the subway, well, I used to, and I'd be playing real Mahjong all the time. I mean, you know, Mahjong practice all the time.
That's great. Well, I'm not seeing many more questions here, but I have a question for, oh, good. Linda.
I was just going to make a comment. Will just got a phone call, so he disappeared for a minute.
Yes.
But when we got stuck staying at home and I couldn't play with the Wednesday group. I'm the Linda that Toby was talking about in the beginning. So I taught my husband how to play Siamese, and we play 2 games every afternoon before dinner. And he didn't know how to play at all. And now, you know, like yesterday, he won 2 games, and then the second round, I won 2 games. So he's kind of gotten pretty good. But
I would say he caught up.
Yeah, it's made a huge difference to have this to do while we can't really go out and see other people or do many things. And then as for our Wednesday group, we still play on we use real Mahjong. So there's 4 or 5 of us who play now, and one of the members, Kathleen, is in Hawaii. So, but she hasn't joined in yet. So that's worked out too. But we all miss each other. It's hard not to be together.
Yeah.
What's so great is when you miss each other, it means you really formed an incredible bond.
Yeah, we did. Everybody's friendly. Yeah, so it's nice.
Wonderful. Hey, I've got a question for everybody here. So I was talking about a little prize that I'm going to mail to someone here. So I was thinking about a question for today because it's our very first one. And I always want it to be a question you don't know and I didn't know what I was going to make the question. But how about this? I'm going to choose the person whose birthday is closest to today. Is there anyone whose birthday is actually today? If it is, raise your hand or write in chat. Okay, how about yesterday or tomorrow? Someone close to now. Come on. Somebody's got to be the end of September.
There you go, Toby. She's right there in the blue dress. The blue.
Where are you? Linda, when's your birthday, Linda?
Oh, unmute her.
Oh, Laura, it's Laura. Laura has Monday, September 14th. So Laura.
And Linda, when is yours?
I'm October 1st.
So let's see, which is closest? What was the other date? October 1st. And
Actually, I think it's Laura. She's only a week away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's
I think
Laura.
you're right.
Laura,
Haven't
now
raised
where
her
are
hand.
you? I'm missing
Laura.
you. Why am I missing you? Where's Laura? Raise your
She's
hand.
there somewhere.
Can't find you.
I'm not on video, but I'm there.
Oh, all right. So Laura, just so
Okay.
you know, you're going to get a big prize, all right? So
Well,
what I want you to do is you write to my email address, Toby, Toby's MJ, TOBYSMJ @gmail.com. And you'll give me your name, number, address, and vital statistics, and I'm going to mail you a prize.
great.
Happy birthday, Laura.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Happy birthday to both of you.
Yes, happy
There
birthday.
you go.
I noticed that Marcy asked about Siamese Mahjong. Yes, practice can make perfect, Marcy. You just have to keep playing a lot. But it's very overwhelming at first. And sometimes, Christine, you'll like this. Sometimes we feel that we need to have racks that can contain about 27 tiles, and then another rack that contain one, because we can't figure out our, yes, but Christine has wonderful Siamese Mahjong racks.
Can we see
But
that one more
sometimes
time?
nothing is long enough because we can't figure out what the heck we're doing.
So Christine, can
Yeah.
you hold up that rack one more time? Because I want to show everybody
Yeah.
the rack, because you can play with one rack and both sets fit on the one rack.
Right. So look at Christine.
Yeah, that's a great way of seeing
Christine's unmuted.
Okay, I am unmuted. Hold on a second, let me,
Yeah.
I hear tiles.
here
You can give-
tiles, so you got this. So I actually have 4 of these Siamese racks out right now because I'm going to convince my husband to play with 2 sets of tiles today. So they're
Ooh.
exposed.
beautiful.
So this set actually happens to be shorter than a normal set that we make just because it's for Royal Siamese, actually. So you can see how you have the, and
That's
then-
great. Thank you. Thank you. So let's see.
When I get to play in
Beautiful.
person, I want to play Royal Siamese. I think that would be a lot of fun. For those of you who don't know, it's when you play with 2 sets of tiles. And so everybody's playing Siamese at the same time. And you should really have 2 unmatching sets of tiles, I think, unless you're just going to keep playing Royal Siamese.
Yeah.
Has everybody done Royal Siamese?
this is for, it's just an old vintage Bakelite set and the new replica and robe from Where the Winds Blow. It'll take a pretty picture is what I'm setting it for.
Nice, nice. I have a question here from Marcy, and she said she's very grateful for the Siamese chapter, which is great to hear. And her question, which I think is really terrific, is does practice make perfect? And I think that there's no perfect in Mahjong, but practice definitely gets you there. There's no question about it that, you know, especially when you're a beginner or learning anything new, I don't care if it's a language or Mahjong, the more you do, the better you're going to get. You know, I had a student come to one of my classes, and the next week was the second class, and, you know, we were just sort of stumbling along, and one woman knew everything, and I mean everything. And I said to her, "What did you do this week?" Well, she laid out every single hand on the card, every single which way you could make it. She practiced the entire week. And let me tell you, she was better than everybody else in the class. I mean, she was practicing as if she was learning a new language. So I don't know if I'd be literal with practice makes perfect, but practice makes perfect. Yeah.
Right.
So I don't see any more questions. Does anyone have any comments at all? Barney?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to ask, and maybe this could be a topic for a future session. I don't know if at some point you're going to solicit input from us on what might be good topics for a future session, but it sort of dovetails a little bit with what you were just talking about, and that is, I get asked very often, how do I get better? How do I get better at this game? And different than so many other things, when you can actually see what a person is doing. If I'm learning how to play tennis and somebody's watching me how to play tennis and says, no, you have to throw the ball higher, you have to keep your back more straight. This is an activity where I don't really know what you're doing or where you might be missing opportunities. So I think an interesting topic would be, how do you sort of address the question of how do I get better when you don't even really truly know what somebody might be struggling with, unless you were sitting side by side and you were watching them and like almost like a one-on-one coach with them. I think it's a question I get asked a lot. And when I don't get to sit and watch them do what they're doing, it's, you know, I have some pat answers that I give, but I'm wondering if maybe others have, you know, ideas, or maybe this could be a good topic of discussion for a future meeting.
That would be a great topic. I want to just mention along those lines, though, that Modern Mahjong is going to be interviewing Karen Gu and Bubby Fisher on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And so anybody who wants to hear Karen's strategy ideas can certainly tune in to listen what she has to say. But I love that idea for a discussion for us, Barney. I think that's a great one. I think that's great. So I think maybe we can consider this the end of the first G&T time, and thank you all for joining us. This has been so much fun. I want to get back onto the gallery view and see everybody. But so thank you all. You can unmute yourselves and we can all say goodbye.
Thank you
Thank
so
you all
much
for
for
coming.
coming.
Thank you, Toby. I want to say goodbye.
There's Cindy
Good night.
Quinn. Hi, Cindy. Hi.
Hi, guys.
Good night, Woody.
Thank you.
So
Thank
great.
you.
Hi,
Good night.
Becky.
Sarah, I'm sending you an email.
Thank you.
Hey, Dara.
Guys, thanks.
Becky,
You know,
hi.
Greg, I just
So
wanted to
great.
ask you,
much.
what was the American Mahjong practice site that you were saying was so good?
Yeah.
What is it called? American?
Well, it's just for the iPhone, but now I heard it's for Google. It's
Well-
American Mahjong Practice, and I have it on my iPhone. And I realized we forgot to talk about book plates, but we'll do that.
Okay,
It looks like
so, okay, got it.
And they
looks
spell
like the-
Mahjong with one J, with
okay,
one.
got it. Okay.
Here,
Right.
well, I'll just show everybody here. I don't know. I hope you can
It's-
see this. There we go. So Woody designed this.
I want you to
bookplate.
all look at that book plate that Toby signed. Now, who gets like 100 for penmanship and who gets maybe a 60? I gotta tell you.
So because we can't be with you in person, we thought, well, we would have a book plate that you could, you know, it's like a label and you can put it in your book, and we've all signed it. And Greg, you want to tell everyone how to get it?
Well, you can send us a message via Facebook or something, and we will send it to you. Unfortunately, we do have to ask for postage. So, and you can actually do via Venmo or PayPal 55 cents, but we have to ask for postage. But that postage can be good for up to like 20 book plates or something. So buy a lot, you know, get a lot of book plates and give them to your friends.
There you go.
Take advantage of that 55-cent offer.
Oh, look
So
who joined
anyway,
us,
well,
George.
thank you all. This has been.
Nice.
Thank you all so much for
Thank you.
coming.
Oh, George is there. Oh yes, there's George. The
There's
poodle.
George.
The poodle. Okay. He's looking good. Looking good.
He looks good.
Yeah.
He smells bad.
Oh,
That's okay. He'll survive. Toby, I want to get a plate from you, and I'm going to send you an envelope because you already have it signed with yours and Greg's. So every time I send you something in the mail, I'm going to send you a SASE envelope, and you can send one to me.
All right. It's great. Yeah, anybody could send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. That's a thought. Absolutely.
There's a
yeah.
regular size business envelope. Will that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It'll
Oh,
absolutely
yeah,
fit
because they're
you.
not that big. I don't know
No,
about,
they're not.
we should really measure, let me just see, let me
Here
just
we
check.
go. Look, here we go. I'm showing you. Thank
Regular,
God I'm in my office. But
Perfect.
here it is, and it fits no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
See that?
Okay, great.
Oh, that's
Okay,
perfect.
good. Well, good.
No problem. So you just put your, right, and there we go. No
Great.
problem.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, everyone. So good to see you all.
Jane, thanks for setting this up.
Okay,
Hi,
thank
Becky.
you. Bye. And we might do another one in about a month or something. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Okay.
One in about a
Okay, bye.